This is Tony and Mike in the morning on WICC600, sponsored by Selco Heating and Air Conditioning.
All right, good morning once again. We're at 76 degrees, and we've got some hazy sunshine. Tony and Mike in the morning, thanks for having a second cup of coffee here with us. We're with attorney Craig Smith. Now, Craig is from Koskoff Bieder, right here in this building, just a couple of floors down, and he's here to speak with us for a little bit. Craig, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm still recovering from my long walk up the stairs.
Yes, I could see that. All right, take a moment to catch your breath. Let's get rolling here. Now, you guys recently handled a number of cases involving injuries caused by a popular household product, which I've used many, many times. Tell us what that product was and what exactly happened.
So it's Pam cooking spray. A lot of people have used that. I think it's been on store shelves for like 50 years. And only recently it started causing some burns, fires in kitchens and things like that. And burns, I represent a couple of clients. I've been finding out about these issues all throughout the country where people are getting burned when the cans do what's called venting, which is basically, I call it an explosion. And so these injuries have been happening more frequently. I'm not going to say that the cans have that all the cans are defective. That's not our case or the contention of my clients. But some of the cans, it's a new sort of can that went into use sometime after 2010. Some of the cans will vent. They have little vents on the bottom of them. They're the larger cans that you buy mainly at the big box stores. And when they're heated, they will vent, meaning little horseshoe tabs on the bottom of those cans will open up and spew out cooking oil in the area of a kitchen. And that's where these fires have been generally occurring, because obviously that's where you use cooking spray.
So this is a case of you've left the can too close to the stove?
Well, there's a question about what's too close. You use the cans in a kitchen. You use the cans near a stove. There's a warning on the side of the can that says don't put on or, quote, near the stove, but there's most people don't know exactly what that means, because that's exactly where you use the cans.
Right.
In my cases, fires have happened when they've been on a counter beside the stove,
right.
Which is something you don't normally expect. I mean, obviously, you don't put a can of Pam, for those who don't know, onto a stove. That's obviously a heated environment. It says don't, the contents are flammable and don't heat it up. Most people know that any sort of aerosol can will explode at some point if you get it near heat. But there are rules as to when they can explode, when they can do what's called deform or buckle, and it's our contention that these cans vent at too low a temperature, at a lower temperature than they would be allowed to explode under normal circumstances.
Okay, now these folks that you're representing, what happened to them, and is it a permanent injury that they have?
Yeah, I mean, they're burn injuries, any kind of burn injury is a horrific injury, as you can probably imagine, and it causes scarring. Most of the folks that I represent have had to get skin grafts and things like that. I represent a woman, for example. We just filed a case in Ohio where a woman had injuries to her face. She had burn injuries where the oil is sprayed out from the bottom of the can or is vented, and it's hot. It's sometimes on fire. Injuries to legs and arms of cooks, basically, people standing in front of their stoves cooking. Mainly the cases I have are people that have been cooking on a gas stove where there's an actual flame in the vicinity of where one of these cans vents its contents. So, they're permanent injuries, and as much as anything, it's just a traumatic experience.
But gas or electric, it could happen at any time.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had one where an electric stove, if only because there's not an open flame there, but I imagine the heat alone would be enough to cause a fire. I worry about all of those cases. I'm afraid that there are a lot that probably go unreported because people avoid injuries or somehow are able to get out of the way. But the folks that I represent have been injured, and I'm hearing about other cases all over the country where that's happened.
We're taking a moment. We're speaking with Attorney Craig Smith with Koskoff and Bieder. Now, you have filed a suit against the manufacturer of the product. That's ConAgra Foods for negligence, product liability. Were these tragedies preventable?
I think they were. People have been using PAM cooking spray for 50 years. I've used it myself. I have, and they're all different kinds. There are the original, most of my cases involve the original formula of PAM. Not even sure what that is exactly, but I know there's like olive oil kind and vegetable oil kind. And there's a lot of kinds that are made by ConAgra that just for particular retailers. Our cases generally involve the cans that are sold, the larger cans. They're only sold mainly at big box retailers in bundled form. And oftentimes they're bought by restaurants and things like that because it's like bulk buying of cooking spray. And those cans in particular are new kinds of cans. They've only been sold, PAM cooking spray has only been sold in those types of cans since about 2010. And, of course, what I'm finding is that all the injuries, there are not a lot of recorded injuries or incidents where cooking cans were, PAM cooking spray cans were exploding before 2010, but when they instituted the tabs or the vents on the bottom of these larger types of cans, we started hearing about these injuries. And of course, that's all the cases I have occurred since 2013, and all the other ones around the country that I've heard have also occurred in the last couple of years.
Should ConAgra have done something differently?
My contention is yes, of course. They should have just stuck with the can they were using for the last 50 years.
Yeah,
sure. My case goes to the design of these cans and the use of these cans for cooking spray. I'm sure that if you would have put something else in those cans, like I know they put whipped cream in the cans, that the injuries would not have occurred. But I think these particular cans for cooking spray it's a defective use and it's a defective design for use in a kitchen around a heat source like that.
So a design flaw, more or less.
It is.
Okay.
I don't think you should have a venting can of cooking spray around a gas stove.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay. How are your clients doing today? Is everybody feeling better?
Well, they are recovering. As with all burn injuries, it's as traumatic as it is painful. A lot of times, of course, my clients, the ones here in Connecticut, I've got a number of cases here in Connecticut, and they are recovering. They've had skin grafts. They've got some scarring. But they're recovering from the burns themselves. They're still somewhat traumatized by, thinking back on the fires that were caused.
Sure.
And the one in Ohio happened just last year in November. So she's still in recovery mode on both physically and emotionally. So.
Sure. Well, a burn is probably the most painful thing. I mean, I did, just over the summer, I burnt my finger on the grill outside, and I for 3 weeks I thought I was dying. I can only imagine if you have it to your face or over a good portion of your body or whatever it is. I mean, it's painful stuff. It really is.
It is. I can't imagine it, and it's also the inability to escape it.
Right.
And when it's oil, it's hot oil. You can take your hand off the grill. When you've got hot oil on you, it's hard to sort of have the presence of mind to get to the sink, try to wash it off.
Sure.
It's traumatic.
It really, really is. Craig, unfortunately, we've run out of time. If people want more information, they want to get in touch with you, what can they do? Yeah,
just give us a call, Koskoff and Bieder. We have offices in Bridgeport. We're also, there are a number of articles on the internet about these cases and about these incidents, we're always here.
All right. Hey, good luck to you. Good luck to your clients, too. I hope they get everything they have coming to them. Thank you so much.